You are now watching Zacilash, the best place to learn about competitive Pokemon TCG. Let's get it! Yo, what's poppin' peeps? Welcome back to the channel. Zacilash here. Word up. Today we're going to be covering over Lucario Melmetal-GX. So this is a deck that I've personally been a naysayer about. I feel like I'm a naysayer very early in the format, then I'm like, you wanna know what, maybe I'm not going to do this format entirely. I did say it's going to be very difficult to play this deck in our particular format with Path to the Peak that just got released. Path to the Peak shutting off Zamazenta, really hurting his chance against most VMAX decks. However, there's also not a lot of fire type decks in this format, and it's something that I probably have to stress to a whole other level. It's one of those things where this deck is probably much better than I think. Now, the version has changed a little bit. Shout out to Joshua Sutherland. You can follow him on Twitter. The link is in the description along with a deck list. While you're there, feel free to check out some of my sponsors. If you want to pick up a Zacilash playmat or some Zacilash merch, or if you want to just give this video a like or subscribe to the channel, all those things really help out. But yeah, we'll have to see exactly. But shout out to Josh for this awesome concept. He's basically been the LucMetal master for a while now. And I'm just going to go to the best when they have the best list. There's no reason for me to reinvent the wheel, right? So that being said, let's jump into the deck list, see exactly what's poppin'. So this is what we got going on for the deck list. You got three main Pokemon. You got Lucario Melmetal-GX. I typically only use this card against tag team Pokemon or decks where I need to reduce damage. I'm usually using Full Metal Wall GX to reduce damage for the rest of the game done to my metal type Pokemon, and then just removing all their energies. So I do keep that in mind when it is possible for Full Metal Wall GX. Zacian V is really the offense of this deck. You have Intrepid Sword, which can accelerate energies, it can draw cards, and Brave Blade puts incredible pressure on your opponent's Pokemon. Then we got Zamazenta V. This is really the card that I use against VMAX Pokemon in general, where I'm just using Assault Tackle and just sitting there with Dauntless Shield, hoping that they could do nothing. Now, this version of the deck did add in Aegislash V. So yesterday, before this video came out, the Decidueye is everywhere. So I do want to let everyone know that I do have Aegislash V in my deck. Do I always think that Aegislash V is good in this deck? No. We're only using it for Sonic Edge to do 130, and you're basically trying to run through things like Alteria's Decidueyes, because this attack's damage isn't affected by any other effect on your opponent's active Pokemon. That is the only reason to run Aegislash V in this deck, as far as I'm concerned. So Aegislash V is cool if you're worried about Decidueye and Altaria. If you are not worried about those, or if they have not seen play for a while, this card is likely not needed. Version of this deck's a little bit different than the Tag Call Guzma version. It's a little bit more straight up with researches and Marnies and 3 copies of Malolanas and 3 copies of Boss. It's really just because you don't necessarily need to have all these little tech cards. Our format's not as defined right now. And of course we have a couple copies of Chaotic Swell. We don't need to find tag calls for Guzma to search out special energies. There's no metal Pokemon, or no fire type Pokemon really in this format. So we are just really playing basic metals. You can rip them with Zacian, and that's just going to be good enough. If we need to search out particular cards, that'd be cool, and we'd find ways to search them, but right now we could just usually draw into them. Lily's Pokédoll, I mean, typical, just like 80, or typical LucMetal fare. And I mean, this deck is going to play like a very typical LucMetal list. You won't be playing as many cards to search things out directly, but when you're not searching things out directly, you're going to be grabbing them with Professor's Research and ripping through things like that. So, I mean, this is the current standard list of LucMetal. So we're going to play through some games. And I mean, like I said, this is our Desi Altaria counter. This is great against tag teams. This is great in every matchup. And then this is great in our VMAX matchup. So in a tag team matchup, you go 1 of these and 2 of these. In a Desi matchup, you just try to get this out as soon as possible and attack with Sonic Edge. And in a VMAX matchup, you're going to go for 2 of these and 1 of these. Those are typically the strategies that you're going to be deploying with this deck, but obviously it depends on what you start with and what's going on. So let's jump into some gameplay and see what's poppin'. So we're going to call the coin flip. Let's go for... We won the coin flip. I like going first with this deck. The reason why I like going first is if you start with Zacian, you could attach an energy to Zacian and pressure your opponents. With Intrepid Sword, if you hit another energy, you're now threatening to turn to Brave Blade. So let's see exactly what our opponent's doing. I'm starting with Zacian because Zacian wants to be used in all matchups. I don't know why our opponent's sad here. Maybe they just started with that, so let's go with energy here. Usually want to go Cape of Toughness on the dogs, leaving the metal goggles for this. Your experience might vary though. If you are playing against things that are placing damage counters, maybe you just want to play metal goggles. Let's try to rip an energy. Boom. So you can see now next turn, I'm a research away from just getting an energy onto the Crobat V. And this is where the deck can really take off. We might see a concession from our opponent because we're up 2 prize cards. Oh, okay, our opponent's playing some kind of dark type deck. There's their dark energy. They can't play any trainer cards from their hand next turn. A tool scrapper. You gotta watch out for things like that, especially during the limitless lists. And there's a Marnie. I'm actually fine. I don't want to discard this hand if I don't have to. So this looks like they're probably playing Galarian Moltres V if I saw any kind of dark deck. We'll have to see what our opponent's doing. Yeah, Weavile-GX, Umbreon Darkrai. It looks like it's some kind of dark box. So Dark Moon GX is just going to stop us from playing trainer cards. I'm just going to attach this for our turn. I'm going to hit for... actually, I'm going to put this Zacian down. I think this is a matchup we're going to use lots of Zacians. Let's go for a Brave Blade for 230 damage. And we are almost knocking out their tag team Pokemon on our second turn of the game after being locked under Dark Moon GX. A lot of decks cannot hit 230 damage turn 2. So we'll have to see how our opponent's going for here. They're probably going to grab a red and blue evolving into a Weavile GX. And it's like I know what I'm talking about. This is another deck that I plan on covering in the channel in the near future. So there's red-blue. And they're going to search for Weavile GX a couple energies, and they're probably going to attack for Black Lance. Black Lance is not going to snipe this because it is not a GX Pokemon. And I don't think they're going to attack us with Weavile GX either, so that is something to note. So they might just take their energy loss with Umbreon Darkrai GX. So are they going to go Shadow Connection and move things around? Again, this is not going to be affected by Cheryl or anything like that, so that's why I decided to go in there and attack. We could also just rip a Mallow-Lana into Lily's Pokédoll, put that at the bottom of our deck, draw 3 prize cards. And they did, yeah, it seems pretty cool if we can get that. Or a Switch. A Switch in general would just be pretty cool. So let's go for the Pokegear first. Okay, so there's a boss's orders. No reason for us to grab a boss's orders in my opinion. I'm going to grab Lily's Pokédoll and put that down, and then I'm going to rip with the research. Hopefully we could find a switch here. We did not find a switch. Now, we did find another way that we can attack, though. And it's a little bit riskier. I will put that there. We could attach here and Metal Saucer here. Just because we have 3 prize cards and they can always just remove our energies by knocking this Pokemon out naturally. This will reset the Brave Blade, and they're going to concede after that, showing you how vicious this deck can be. Okay, so I was able to win the coin flip. Would I like to go first? Yes. I find I typically like to go first so I can attach that first energy. As we saw in our first game, I just have Zacian and energy, might be able to rip one, have access to supporters. There's really not much else that I'm really looking for here. Let's see what our opponent's playing. I don't ever like playing more than 1 Pokemon down. I don't think it's ever worthwhile. So they're playing Coalossal, which is a VMAX deck. If we get out Zamazenta, that sounds pretty cool if you ask me. I don't really want to put down anything else. I don't want to put LucMetal down. When I play against VMAX decks, I almost exclusively go Zacian, Zamazenta, Zamazenta. So let's attach an energy here. We're going to go for Intrepid Sword. We grabbed another energy. And we have access to boss's orders to knock out their Colossal V next turn, showing you how vicious this deck can be, especially since there's no more Coating Metal energies getting in the way or anything like that. So this should be a pretty quick game, unless of course they're playing something different. The Pidgeotos and Pidgeys are a little bit different in this deck, I should say, but maybe it's just because they're playing a modified version of Coalossal. So we'll have to see what's going on here. Hopefully we can just rip this Coalossal to shreds. And I mean, sometimes Zacian's going to carry this deck. A lot of the games that you win are just going to be because you have access to lots of cool things going on. Now, we are going to lose our boss's orders and our metal energy. Hopefully we could find another one. Those would be really cool to find. There's a capture energy for another Coalossal. We could top deck our boss's orders as well. We did top deck a Chaotic Swell, so I am going to get Chaotic Swell in play. It's going to allow us to use Intrepid Sword again if we need to, and we're going to have access to a lot of things. So let's attach the energy there. Our Dauntless Shield on our Zamazenta V as well, so that's why we play Chaotic Swells nowadays. I don't want to go Aegislash yet. I'm not necessarily worried about losing this game yet. So I'm going to go Brave Blade, take a free prize card. Because there's a very real chance our opponent only plays a couple Path to the Peak, considering they played theirs first. They're going to have to find a lot of ways to get around this Chaotic Swell. And maybe they're just going to be like, Pidgey, pass, we don't have anything. I'm not sure. They did lose their Guru as well. And if they don't play Marshadow, they might not be able to bump this Chaotic Swell. Oh, they got nothing off of that. Interesting. Maybe they... Okay, so they're now putting everything to luck, and they might just pass here. Okay, let's go Pokegear first. Pokegear first, I mean, it sucks right now. It's one of those things where I don't necessarily feel super comfortable pitching this hand, because we do have access to Metal Saucers and stuff like that. At the same time, it's really losing a Metal Saucer and a Chaotic Swell, so let's just take our opponent's slow start and see what we could do with it. We are going to draw another prize card here, which I think is going to be good. I am going to go Quick Ball away LucMetal, because I don't think we need LucMetal here, for a Zamazenta V. I can't be sure how many paths our opponent plays, but let's go ahead here. And let's go Lily's Pokédoll. I can't attack, so I have to go switch Lily's Pokédoll. Lily's Pokédoll goes under the deck, putting this back up. Putting down another Lily's Pokédoll, and let's just draw another prize card. As many prize cards as we can take right now without going overboard sounds really good. Our opponent has a very poor setup. I know the top card of their deck is not anything special because they put it there with a Rangaroo. If it was something really good, they probably would have played it. At this rate, they might just attack us with Searing Flames. And maybe LucMetal would be good in this situation, right? It's one of those things where it could be good. I don't necessarily hate it. We're in an awkward spot. There's no other way to put it, that we're just in an awkward spot. So there's another Zacian. Really nothing else that we could do here. I could bring up their Coalossal with a lot of retreat costs. I could retreat. I'd lose the energies anyways. So for me, I'm almost fine losing the prize card. And I'm just going to set up this Zacian V. I usually go double Zamazenta, but they don't have their V maxes out yet. So let's just go for Intrepid Sword. There's an energy that we could rip on there. We have a Pokegear. Maybe this deck could use the fourth Pokegear. A lot of lists do play them. So far we haven't seen any switching cards or anything like that from our opponents. Again, they just keep on Guruing, and they're in top deck mode right now. So maybe they're going to pass, and we're going to draw another 2 prize cards. There's a capture energy, so if they're capturing energy, they didn't have that last turn as far as I'm concerned. Maybe they're just going to grab out another Coalossal. Okay, they're going to grab another Pidgey. There's the pass. So you can see that something like this, now we have the time that we can attack into that maybe. Let's go Pokegear, seeing what we can grab. I could play the Marnie down if I really wanted to. I'm probably going to wait one more turn to do so. At this rate, I'm just going to go Brave Blade, draw my 2 prize cards, then decide, because their hand is still stuck in top deck mode. And I mean, right now, it looks like we cannot lose this game. If I really had anything to think of it, like, I don't think we could lose this game if we tried. Especially once they evolve into a VMAX that we could just, like, chill there. They can't even put anything on top of their deck. They're just going Boulder Crush. So they've drawn their prize cards. Let's now try to knock out this Coalossal V if we have the possibility to do so. I think that's really where the big plays are going to come from. So these are cards that I probably want in my hand. I'm going to go Metal Goggles here on Zacian. And then I'm just going to go ahead and Quick Ball away Zacian V, grabbing a Zamazenta V. That's fine. I could have grabbed another Zacian, but I'm going to keep it in the deck just because. Probably no reason, just because. I'm attached here from or I'm gonna attach to Zamazenta V for my turn. I think that that's gonna be really important. Just to get that start powering up in case they do evolve into a VMAX. I don't want this to get out of control. And I'm going to go for Intrepid Sword. There's another energy for me. I'm going to go ahead and take that energy for me. So now next turn I can attack with the Zacian V. I think that they can do a max of 240 with Coalossal. 240 minus 30 is 210, which is just 10 shy of knocking out the Zacian V. And they shouldn't be able to build up that damage unless they play something else. But I mean, we have a couple ways that we could go about this. We could go boss's orders kind of strategies, knocking out a round, or just knocking out the active Pokemon. But to me, this seems very clear that they're going for a Coalossal approach in the game. And that's fine. We still have access to plenty of energies. There's only 6 in our discard pile. We have 4 more left between our deck and our prize cards. And we still have access to 3 more Metal Saucers. So we have lots of energies to power up a Zamazenta and a Zacian V. Let's hope that they don't play another Path to the Peak, because we did lose our other Chaotic Swell. Oh, and we'll see how they go here. That's crazy. I wasn't thinking that they were going to attack into that one. Wildin. Okay, let's go ahead here and... How many switch have we used? We've used 1 switch. We have a really good chance of getting a switch here. So we're going to go ahead here, put on the Cape of Toughness there. We're going to attach to the bench there, and we're going to go for Research. I think Research is going to be a really good idea for us to get out of the active with Switch. So let's go Switch here. At this rate, I don't want to power up that one anymore. Let's go Metal Saucer. And we're going to attack this for Brave Blade. 230. Our opponent shouldn't be able to knock this out, and then we can just go Malulana or Switch to win the game. So, again, not really the most exciting game, but it does really show how if our opponent did have Coalossal, we were ready to set up with our Zamazenta Vs in play. We've been attacking with our Zacian V. A single Zacian V, again, can handle a lot of the game. Do not underestimate that at all when you're playing this deck. LucMetal is really going to be only good against tag team matchups for the most part, or decks that, like Mad Party, that don't necessarily do a lot of damage. We are down, I believe, all of our boss, so if they do just keep that on the bench, we are just stuck kind of attacking into our opponent's active. They could play Tool Scrapper. That is something to note. And they do have access to their Pidgeotos now. Maybe they prize, like, I don't know what's going on with their deck. It could be something like that I just don't understand. But it's just really more or less waiting here. But we should be... Okay, there's the Coalossal VMAX. Awesome. So 240, 240 minus 30, 210, 210. So if they don't have a way to get around this, we should just be able to switch knockout game. We don't even need to heal, and we're just going to be able to run away this game with a single Zacian V. Well, I mean, I guess one of our Zacian Vs is in our discard pile, so I made 2 Zacian Vs, but you know what I'm saying. It's just like Zacian V can sometimes just run, just attack 230, 230, 230. It's very good. The Mew on their bench probably doesn't matter, although they might just try to start sniping this off. If they hit the active, it does nothing. That's cool with me as well. I'm just going to switch here into that. There's no reason for me to waste my hands. So I'm just going to go Marnie. We have plenty of switching cards. There's a Metal Saucer, so I'm totally cool with Metal Saucer at this point. Metal Saucer. Metal Saucer. We don't need to really worry about decking out because of Lily's Pokédoll. I'm going to start attacking with the Zamazenta V. They're not going to be able to get a Path to the Peak out this turn. 130 knockouts. So, again, it sucks that our opponent's kind of just sending up Mons, and that we're going to have to draw extra prize cards this game, because I think we're going to actually end up having to knock out the Coalossal VMAX right out of boss's orders just because of the way our hands worked. But it is one of those things where we can... take this Pokemon out. They can't really attack into our Zamazenta V, so we're really at a mercy of what our opponent can be doing. I don't really think there's much that they could be doing. So that's kind of my whole thing. We're doing, and we can start discarding their special energies too. The biggest thing that worries me is if they somehow go like Tool Scrapper, discard Metal Goggles, rip this, knock that out with G-Max Boulder, and then eventually try to knock out this Zamazenta V, that could be a little bit spookier. So there's the path to the peak, so they can't get through the Zamazenta V yet. And they have to send up the Coalossal V Max. So what are we doing here? We're doing 230 minus 1, 2, 3. So that's 170. 170. Yeah, we don't even get the knockout there. So they don't get the knockout here. And that's kind of the big thing. Let's just attack them again, removing their energy. Let's go for Assault Tackle. This is going to put them in a tough position. Like, we're only doing 70 damage, as you saw there. But we can remove their special energy. They're at 260. And again, they have to put themselves in a position where, like, they need to knock us out. There's a Malolana. So, 230, 170, 190. That puts to 330. We don't have enough to knock it out yet. So they could sit here for a while and just continuously play things like that. It depends if they have access to another path to the peak. It also depends if they have access to a metal goggles, or a way to remove our metal goggles, I should say. So I know they can't play Tool Jammer because they play buff padding. And this is like my thought process when I'm going through in a game. It's just like, let's throw out every idea. Something's going to make sense. So right now I can only assume that based off everything that they've been able to do with Rotom Phone and the amount of airmails that they've done, that they've circulated through their entire deck, I think they're trying to find an alternative win con, and they're probably not going to be able to. And I could be wrong. Maybe it will surprise lose this game because, okay, and we're going to take the game. They can't find their win con. Let's get it. And that's what we got going on for these games. We had that quick game with Zacian where we were able to quickly go through our opponent's Dark Box deck, and we had that long game against Coalossal that played out a little bit weird. So the only thing that really wasn't shown was the Lucario Melmetal, and I know this is called a LucMetal deck or a Lucario Melmetal deck, but LucMetal is only really great against tag team Pokemon in my experience. We could have used it against the Coalossal maybe, but you saw how we were able to shape that game up and just take that game from our opponent. So let me know exactly if you have any different strategies going on, if you would have played out the games differently, any cool text that you have for the deck. What are your thoughts? Again, the list is in the description, and shout out to Josh. You can follow him on Twitter. The link is in the description. Feel free to check out the sponsors, and if you're not interested in picking up any Aegislash merch or anything, or if it's just not in the budget right now, I totally get that. Feel free to give this video a like. That means a lot to me. Subscribing to the channel, leaving a comment below helps boost the algorithm. All that stuff really does help. So I appreciate everyone watching this video. I'm just going to try to cover all the top decks in our formats and then just start refining them as I always do. So thank you so much, everyone. Have yourself a great one. Peace out. I want to give a huge shout out to everyone who's become a channel member. It's one of those things where I appreciate every single person who watches my videos, and I mean, that's really where it counts, but for the channel members, they've gone out of their way to financially support me, and I truly appreciate that gesture. It's one of those things when I started channel memberships up on my channel, and I just didn't know if anyone was ever going to do it, so I truly appreciate everyone taking the plunge, taking a leap of trust, and investing in me as a content creator. Truly makes a difference for me each and every month. If you haven't already thought about becoming a channel member, you might want to contribute to the channel, and I do put everything back into the channel to make it the best possible place to watch for Pokemon TCG content. Again, I truly appreciate everyone. Thank you so much. Cheers. I truly appreciate you taking the time out of your day to watch this video. It means the world to me. And my goal with this channel is to spread my love of the game and knowledge with our entire Pokemon TCG community. If you haven't already, help signal boost this video to other Pokemon TCG fans by liking it, sharing it with your friends, and subscribing to the channel. Hopefully we reach our goals really soon. Check out this recommended video, and have yourself a great day. Thanks.